Apologies, it has been a while. It's been a while. Yeah, sorry. But we are now up to part 3 of the Heracles story. Which, as I said before, is in the prototype. The kind of the starting point for so many different sorts of stories, especially sort of the hero-y ones. Anyway, chapter 3, the Golden Horn Stag. Heracles had been chasing the Cerenian stag for a year and a day before he eventually caught up with it. With all his muscles weighing him down, he wasn't really suited for running. Finally, he was so close that he could hear it panting with exhaustion as it struggled to swim across a river. He strode into the water and waded after it. But before he was even halfway across, the stag was already scrambling up the opposite bank. "There's no one letting you get away from me now," he muttered under his breath. He planted his legs firmly against the rushing water, fitted an arrow to his bow, and took aim. He didn't dare harm the creature, but belonged to the goddess Artemis, and besides, his task was to bring it to the king alive. So he aimed low and fired. The arrow clipped one of the stag's ankles, which was just enough to slow it down. Heracles waded across the water, climbed the bank, and lifted it gently onto his shoulders. Just as he was beginning the long walk back to the king's palace, a noble-looking woman rode up to him on a moon-white horse. She had a strange glow about her skin that made him realize she was no ordinary woman. "What are you doing with my stag?" she said. Her voice was as sharp as any arrow. Heracles knelt before her and bowed his head. "Noble goddess Artemis," he said humbly, "I know that you could have struck me down by now for even touching this creature of yours. So perhaps you'll be merciful and explain that I have no choice. I am bound by the task set for me by King Eurydice. However, I promise I will set your stag free once I've shown it to the king." The goddess stared at him coldly for a moment. "If you do not," she said, "then I will find you and flay the skin from your limbs." She turned her horse and rode away, her hair streaming out behind her. Heracles watched her go, then he got to his feet and made his way back to the palace. He showed the stag to the king, then he took it outside and set it free. Okay, and that was a short one, so we're going to carry on with another one. Chapter... Are we calling these chapters, or are these just we're calling these tasks? Okay, so task 4. Task 4, the giant wild boar. "You can catch your harmless stag and bring it to me alive," said the king, "but how about something that's a little more dangerous? There's a giant wild boar that lives on Mount Amanthos. Bring it to me without harming a single bristle on its body." "Just keep him busy for a while," the king thought to himself as he watched Heracles leave. An angry voice behind him made him jump. "That won't take him any time at all. It's far too easy." The king swung round to find himself face to face with the goddess Hera. That wasn't Hera's voice. Let me try that again. An angry voice behind him made him jump. "That won't take any time at all. It's far too easy." The king swung around to find himself face to face with the goddess Hera. He didn't know what to say. He had received his orders from Zeus to set Heracles the tasks. He hadn't realised the god's wife was involved too. "It's a very large, fierce boar," he began. "It'll be child's play to him," she snapped. "You're not supposed to be setting him tasks he'll enjoy. See to it that the next one is tougher." And with that, she vanished. Only an hour later, there was a terrible squealing and bellowing as Heracles entered the palace with a terrifyingly huge, red-eyed boar across his shoulders. The king climbed to a pot with fright. "Don't worry," laughed Heracles as the king peered nervously out of the neck of the pot. "It's tied up." And we will pause there before the next one. Number 5, task 5, the stinking stables. One of my personal favourites. So there we go. Good to be back on the Greek myths. Hope everyone's taking care. We will see you when we see you.